the thing, the other thing that's been criticised is the fact they've introduced a notch to the Mac laptop. I think this is to basically try to expand and get as much screen space, but obviously you've got the camera that sits at the top of the screen, so trying to get to the full width becomes a bit hard. So yeah, the notch is quite ugly because it eats into the actual screen UI. But then I think most professionals are going to be plugging their laptop into a monitor anyway, so I don't know if that's even that important. So, you know, but, you know, people complain because they like to complain. But yeah, I don't think that... The thing that I think is ludicrous is the price and, yeah, and the cloth. But other than that, I think, you know, who's actually going to be able to buy this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the takeaway here is, like, people will always buy it. It's a luxury good. People love, you know, MacBook Pro. Like, I've used the MacBook Pro for years. It's definitely my laptop of choice. Performance is usually great. They tend to last a good amount of time. I've had this MacBook Air that I'm literally using right now to record probably for 8 or 9 years at this point. I don't even think it's really difficult to get software updates at this point because it's so old. So the one other thing that I heard through the grapevine and through like Twitter is that the sound is really good, which is not something that I would typically say is like something that stands out. But the new MacBook Pro has 6-speaker sound system, which includes woofers and 2 tweeters. And Apple says during their keynote that it's 80% more bass. So if you're wanting to bump songs directly from your laptop without having external speakers, maybe that's it. And then the last thing that I just wanted to kind of bring home here is like just putting an emphasis on like the price here. So of course, this is the final breakdown of the price. 14-inch MacBook Pro is $2,000 USD, 16-inch $2,500, and the most expensive 16-inch, if you fully maxed it out with everything,
$20,000.
That's the price. $6,000 to trick it out.
Yeah,
for a laptop. You better get insurance on that. Imagine if you just drop it, or like, I don't know. It's just crazy that people, unbelievable. But I get it. I mean, there's professional studios that like, well, the question is their livelihood. So, yeah, I mean, I think for individuals, the thing is, if you're really difficult to. If
you need a superpowered device, like if you're doing any games development or video editing, like hardcore stuff, you really need like the actual towers, right? Doing on the laptop's not really feasible. Like you just need a device that can process stuff really fast and efficiently. So a laptop, I mean, if you're going to spend money, you're better off spending money on that. Or there are other cheaper options to do stuff. So you've got like the Mac Minis and stuff, which I know a lot of video production people do, because they can just connect that to the monitor and then just process everything on there and just leave it to it. But yeah, now again, it's like this is for studio folks, right? And
yeah, I think that's the audience. Yeah, I think overall it was a very I guess like the Twitter reactions were somewhat quiet. I think people were most excited. The MacBook Pro is like, again, fully tricked out, but you know, performance updates, thinner, kind of the normal updates that we tend to see from Apple. But I'm curious to see if anybody tries this, like how good is the performance. I'm sure it's like insanely fast. So, but yeah, that's it. Apple's got a new $20 polish cloth, so I'm sure that's going to sell quick. So make sure you get over there to get that.
Or not. Or just get a refurbished machine. That's what I'd recommend all the time, just refurbished. Unless the only downside to refurbished devices, and particularly the phones, is they for example, Apple still sell iPhone 8s as refurbished, and they still support it. The challenge is as newer devices come out, Apple won't support those older ones. So if you're looking for cheap, the difference between an iPhone SE and an iPhone 8 refurbished is maybe like $30. So is it worth going for the much cheaper option for a device that may not be supported in the future? Again, it's something to consider. So yeah, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's just worth just buying the bullet and buying the real thing.